Our law and justice lead now. The judge in that Venezuelan deportation case called the Trump Justice Department's response to his questions woefully insufficient. The department submitted its answers shortly after Chief Judge James Boasberg's noon deadline today in a filing that the judge says evaded its obligations. CNN's Evan Perez and former federal prosecutor Alyse Adamson joins me now. Evan, what exactly does Judge Boasberg mean when he says that they evaded its obligations?
Well, first of all, they missed his deadline. They responded to him, but they did so after his noon deadline. And when they did so, they provided a declaration from a lower level official from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, and did not provide the actual information that he had requested. He'd asked for, again, the names of these people who were on this third plane that took off from the United States en route to Central America after he had issued this order. And all he's asking for is, let me know, tell me who those people are, just declare to me who they are, and why it did not apply, my order did not apply to them. Yeah. And it seems interesting that the Justice Department, the judge is offering them an off-ramp, yeah, right? He's saying, tell me it's a state secret issue, and then, we can resolve it this way, and they haven't done that.
They won't even say that.
They won't even say that. They say they're considering doing that.
Huh. Alyse, the Attorney General Pam Bondi was on Fox earlier today talking about this, and here's a little clip of what she had to say.
This judge has no right to ask those questions. They're meddling in foreign affairs. They're meddling in our government. And the question should be, why is a judge trying to protect terrorists who have invaded our country over American citizens?
She does go on to say that they're going to honor what the court says, but they will appeal. You're a former attorney with the Justice Department. What do you make of this?
Yeah. Pam Bondi knows better, and that the judge does have the authority to ask those questions, right? The judiciary is well within their rights to make these factual findings, especially when it's potential for contempt. This idea, this notion that the judge is somehow protecting terrorists over American citizens is just not borne out in the facts. These individuals were already in detention when they were deported. So it's not like the judge wants to release them on the streets. The judge is just trying to find out, in the first instance, whether or not the deportations comported with the law. And right now, all the judge is trying to determine is whether or not they complied with his order. So I think what we hear from Attorney General Bondi is a bunch of talking points that are sidestepping the real legal issues in this case.
Maybe that's why she only goes on one particular channel where people don't point that out. Evan, there's set to be another hearing tomorrow. What are the next steps in this case?
Well, now the judge is saying, I need you to come forward and tell me exactly how does this apply to my order that I issued over the weekend. He wants them to now officially say whether they were complying with his order, and to show how they complied with his order. And again, he's building, as you were pointing out, he's building the record here, because if this goes up to an appeal, right, the first thing the appeals court or the Supreme Court will ask for is, what is the record that the judge has made on this? And so that's what he's trying to do here. And I think, Jake, look, I've covered cases like this where the executive branch says to a judge, look, this is non-justiciable. You shouldn't even be asking these questions, but we will answer them anyway, right? It's not uncommon for you to have this dispute. I saw this one in the Obama administration, for instance, when the U.S. killed a U.S. citizen in Yemen without any due process. And in the end, the judge declared that it was non-justiciable. It was not something that they could do anything about, but he did hold hearings and he did look into it.
So if everything's a crisis, nothing's a crisis. We had a judge on yesterday who said this is a constitutional crisis. How big a deal is it, the disdain with which the Justice Department under Trump is treating this judge?
Yeah, I think those are two different ideas. Are we in a constitutional crisis? I think we're coming very close. I personally don't think we are there yet. If ultimately it is determined that the Justice Department did knowingly and willfully violate these orders, I think the analysis is a little bit different. The disdain we are seeing, I think, is unprecedented. The fact that the Justice Department did not comply with the order to respond at noon, how hard is that? They could have even filed a motion for extension of time and say, we're not ready yet. But to just summarily blow off a court order is just something we don't see. And I don't think that it is we're definitely trending into a good direction if we are seeing this much disdain within the first, 6 weeks of this presidency. We're tiptoeing so close to a dangerous place that I'm afraid they're going to finally go over the line.
And I think it's clear, by the way, the judge is trying to avoid this.
Yeah.
He is
Yes.
giving them off-ramps and saying, let's not do this.
It is not unreasonable to say, okay, you say you deported 231 gang members. Give us their names. We're not saying we don't believe it, but tell us who they are. And they won't do it. That's wild stuff. Evan Perez and Alyse Adamson, thanks to both of you.